This play from 2019 was incorrectly called by the refs. Had it been called correctly, I believe it would have resulted in Brady playing for the Raiders instead of the Bucs. But how do we get there? Well, let's start from the beginning. The late 2010s marked the end of the Pats dynasty and the beginning of the Chiefs' new one. In the last month of the decade, the two teams played each other in a close, low-scoring matchup that ended in a Chiefs victory, which may have propelled them to a higher playoff seed in their first Super Bowl victory in 50 years. However, the game featured one rather controversial play in the fourth quarter that may have changed not only the game's outcome, but the future of the NFL and several Super Bowls. Early in the fourth quarter, the Patriots were driving the ball in an attempt to reduce a 10-point deficit. And on 1st and 10 from the Chiefs' 15, Brady hit N'Keal Harry behind the line of scrimmage, who tiptoed along the sideline, dove into the end zone, and scored. However, the refs ruled him down at the 3-yard line. Without any challenges remaining, the Patriots were forced to accept the questionable at best call. As a result, New England only scored a field goal on that drive. Had they scored the touchdown, the Patriots would have at least tied the game on their final drive, which ended with an incomplete pass on 4th down at the Chiefs' 5. Let's say the refs make the correct call and New England goes on to win in OT. How much would change from one game? A lot. But keep in mind, in this alternate reality, I will be making decisions about certain outcomes that you may disagree with. If that's the case, then feel free to make your own video and decide whatever you want. Anyway, first, this moves the Pats up to the 2 seed and the Chiefs move down to 3. For this exercise, let's say any similar matchups end in the same results. For example, the Chiefs are now playing the Titans in the wild card round as opposed to the AFC Championship game. But the results will stay the same, with Kansas City coming out on top, who then travel to New England. With an extra week of rest and having won the regular season matchup, the Pats beat the Chiefs again. Meanwhile, the Ravens, who blew out the Texans in Week 11, win that game too. But you know who else they blew out during the regular season? The Patriots. With the NFC unaffected by this change, San Francisco is still representing their conference in the Super Bowl. And while the Ravens did beat them earlier in the season, it was a 3-point victory in Baltimore in the rain, where the Niners had missed a field goal and a failed 4th and 1 attempt in field goal range. In a neutral site with neutral weather, I'm calling San Francisco the winners of Super Bowl 54. Now, as a result of a more successful playoff run, the free agent interest in Tom Brady is stronger than the reported 2 serious offers he received in the 2020 offseason from the Bucs and Chargers. This time, he receives more serious offers from some of the other teams who were rumored to have communicated with Brady at the time. This group includes the Rams, Raiders, Bears, Niners, Titans, and Saints. However, the Saints re-signed Drew Brees that year, so they're out. The Bears had a bad offensive setup and are historically a bad place for quarterbacks. The Rams are still a year away from being ready to move on from Goff after he helped them get to the Super Bowl just a year earlier. The Titans got a career year out of Tannehill, who is considerably cheaper than Brady, and in this scenario, the 49ers won the Super Bowl, so they're not making this move either. This leaves the Bucs, Chargers, and Raiders. We know Brady preferred the Bucs over the Chargers, so that just leaves Tampa Bay and the new Las Vegas Raiders. Now, Brady, who currently holds ownership stake in the Raiders, has shown an affinity for this franchise. At the time, the team also had a solid offensive line, an up-and-coming star running back, and a Pro Bowl tight end. Since Brady made a deep playoff run the previous year, instead of ending his Pats career with a pick-6 and a one-and-done postseason, Las Vegas sees Brady as a 43-year-old quarterback who can still push for a Lombardi, and the perfect face of the franchise to lead the team's new rebranding efforts. This move changes surprisingly little in 2020, as nearly every other quarterback remains on the same team other than Las Vegas, and Tampa Bay, who now trades with the Raiders to make Carr their new guy. In his first season in Nevada, Brady helps flip what were narrow losses to the Dolphins, Chargers, and Chiefs into wins, and also beats the Carr-led Bucs. The 12-4 Raiders finish as the 5th seed. They beat Tennessee in the wildcard matchup, but lose to Buffalo in the next round. The rest of the AFC playoffs proceed similarly, with the Chiefs beating Buffalo in the AFC Championship game. The NFC was very weak in 2020, so the Bucs still make the playoffs as the wild card, but without Brady, they aren't able to make a magical run, and the Packers wind up representing the NFC in the big game. As we know, the Chiefs' O-line had a myriad of injuries in Super Bowl 55, and Green Bay takes advantage, leading to Rodgers' second championship. The 2021 standings are also very similar, as the AFC is exactly the same as it was with the Raiders in the 5th seed. However, the Bucs don't finish as the 2 seed, losing the division to the Saints. The Rams still make it to the Super Bowl in the NFC, and in the AFC, Brady's Raiders don't lose on a failed 4th down attempt at the goal line and instead beat the Bengals. They prove to be the better team against the Titans and proceed to the conference championship. Now, we know Mahomes lost this game in 2021, but in this alternate reality, does he beat their division rival to make it to the big game? No. Brady had Mahomes' number in the playoffs and proves it once again. The Tom Brady-led Las Vegas Raiders go on to win Super Bowl 56. In 2022, 45-year-old Tom Brady begins to slightly decline, which is just enough for the Raiders to miss the playoffs, just as they really did. From here forward, everything is the same, except Jordan Love gets traded to the Colts, who were rumored to be interested in him in the 2020 draft, as the Packers decide to hang on to their two-time champion in Rodgers. This leads to the Raiders drafting Anthony Richardson in 2023 to replace Brady. Additionally, the 49ers never draft Trey Lance, since Jimmy G proved he could win a Super Bowl. However, they still draft Purdy in the 7th round, who eventually takes over as the starter because Jimmy either got hurt, as he frequently did, or played poorly and got benched. You can pick which happened. Derek Carr remains on the Bucs, keeping them just good enough to prevent them from having a high enough draft pick to take his replacement, but not good enough to be a real playoff threat. In the end, Rodgers has one more ring, Mahomes has one less. Brady has the same, although the Bucs are -1 and the Raiders are +1, and the 49ers have one more as well. Thank you for watching. How do you think things could have changed with Brady on the Raiders? Let me know in the comments, and make sure to subscribe to stay up to date with my upcoming NFL videos.